What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Nate and Sutton back with another video, and today we are talking about all those questions you girlies are too afraid to ask us guys.
The problem is, I feel like you're not the most typical guy. Like, you're a little weird.
I know I'm practically half female.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm just joking. I strictly said that just to see how she would respond.
Yeah, so I was telling you before that I haven't watched. I've seen these posted a lot, but I haven't watched them. So I didn't know if you're supposed to answer of like,
There's no rules.
Like, you're the guy, or like, this is what I say, this is what most guys would say, or like, how are you gonna do it?
Yeah, and just a little disclaimer about this video. I'm not claiming that I represent every guy. I'm just going to answer these questions in the way I think, and then I will try to answer them as best as I can on how most guys would answer.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous because I feel like I'm about to learn something. Like, I was reading some of these questions. He doesn't know any of them, but I was like scrolling through some and I'm like, wow, these are really good questions. And some of the things that I've never asked, so I feel like I might be learning something today.
Hopefully we're not in an argument by the end of this video.
But be honest. Okay?
Honest. Okay, let me put on my honesty hat.
I feel like a lot of people might struggle with this. Why do guys not respond to text and ghost us? And I feel like you know the answer because you talk about this.
Well, I think the short answer is because most guys are lame. And they don't respect women in general. Or just people. I just feel like it's generally disrespectful not to respond to anybody's text or phone calls. But yeah, I feel like there's this thing where, you know, if a guy, I think it could go both ways, guys and girls, but there's this thing that if guys feel like a girl's too interested in them, I'm not speaking on behalf of me, but I think most men, if they feel like the girl's too interested in them, they just like won't respond.
Also, well, what I thought you were going to say, even though this isn't for me, but what I thought you were going to say is if they're not responding to you, they're just not interested. You preach that all the time.
Yeah, well,
he always says like you should have to force something, and if you're like forcing and trying so hard, then maybe it's just not meant to be.
I do think that's true. Like in the long haul, a guy will let you know if they're interested in you. Immediately, they might try to play it cool and like not respond to your text. I just think that's lame. And if I were a girl, I wouldn't want to date a guy that was playing those games. And that's one of the reasons I like Sutton so much is because she didn't play any of those games. It was just like she showed me she liked me. I showed her I liked that she liked me, and we lived happily ever after, as I feel like it should be. But for some reason, a lot of people like to play these games, which I'm not personally about.
All right, moving on. Let's try and keep it.
I encourage you to find someone who's not about them either.
Let's try and keep the answers a little on the short side so we can get a lot in.
Okay.
Does the size of body parts matter?
I mean, not in general. Like, it might matter to specific people. Like, you know, I'm sure there's some guys who are like, I want this size on this girl. And that's what they're looking for. But generally speaking, I don't think it's going to, like, you know, there's a guy out there for every size. That's what I'm saying.
Why do you think guys are afraid of commitment?
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I do think most men are more afraid of commitment than most women are. It seems like a lot of women are just like, let's get married now. And the guys are like, whoa, this is crazy. And I know as much, even as certain as I was about Sutton, I still felt like going into marriage, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I just can't believe we're doing this. But then once we got married, it was like, oh, this is no big deal. Like, this is great.
I think it's because for some of them, they have it in their mind and they can't get it out of like, what if something better? What if someone better comes along? What if I like someone more? And like they can't get away from that. So they're like scared to commit because once they commit, that little what if is going to go away. Like there is no one else anymore. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people deal with that.
Does what girls wear matter?
Yes, I think so.
Elaborate.
I think what you wear really tells a lot about you as a person and what you think of yourself and how you want to portray yourself to the world. I think if you dress slutty, you're going to attract the kind of guys that are into those kind of girls. And if you...
I never heard you say that word.
Oh, really? And if you dress more conservatively, and I think it's going to portray to men that you care about yourself, you care about your body, and you're not just laying it out all out there for everyone for who wants to take it.
How often do y'all think about sex?
Men or me and you?
Y'all, men.
I love how all these questions like encompass us as all the same person. Like we're not different.
Well, you're supposed to be answering as like what you think and then as what you would think most guys would say.
Probably like a daily basis.
Well, I
But
would
also
assume so.
But also it differs in my time of life. Like when I was before you and I was just like a lone wolf out there, I was, it was like every hour.
That's weird. You think about it more when you can't do it, and then when you
'Cause you're
finally
so
can, you
unsatisfied.
don't think about it anymore.
Because you're so unsatisfied and thirsty and hungry.
Daily is the assumption. I would assume you think about it daily. The question is like how many times a day?
Like once a day, right before we get to
It's
bed.
less than I thought. I'm offended. Are there things that guys do that they would think is unattractive if girls do the same thing?
Yes. Yes, I think burping off limits. I don't even like to use the word in the same sentence as females, but farting, heck no. Spitting, dipping, cussing. Cussing to me is a real turn off.
But this is obviously not to say that guys should be doing all these things. It's just like some guys do these things and they wouldn't like it if a girl did it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about girls asking them on a date or initiating the conversation with them?
Yeah, I think for the most part, you should try to be the one that's being initiated. I think most men like that, I think it's probably a turnoff for most men if you are the one initiating. But at the same time, like if he's never making any moves and nothing's ever going to happen, you're probably better off trying to initiate something than letting it nothing ever happening. But just give him a little bit of time. He might be slow and nervous. It's kind of like, how you always hear people say snakes are a lot more afraid of us than we are of them. I feel like that applies to guys as well. Like I think girls think they're so afraid, but guys are probably more afraid of you than you are of them.
Do you mind if my best friend is a guy?
Do I mind?
Like guys,
Yes. Yeah, I think like if he was gay, it wouldn't bother me that much, but if he was straight, then yeah, heck no.
That reminds me of another question I saw, and I don't know if I'll find it, but can guys and girls be friends without one of them being attracted to the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, one of them is attracted to them. Like if a guy really wants to be your best friend, he probably likes you. Now, I'm not saying there's not exceptions, but for the most part, you're not going to want to find a guy who just wants to hang out with you for the fun of it.
What if the girl's just so much fun?
I mean, there's exceptions for sure, but for the most part, they like you.
Do guys prefer natural beauty or makeup?
I like a little bit of both. I think it's great if you're naturally beautiful, but you can just, put a little makeup on, a cherry on top. It looks good too.
How do guys feel about female body hair?
Not a huge fan.
What would you say for most guys?
Yeah, I think most guys are probably not a fan of body hair in general. A little peach fuzz on the arms, and that's probably okay. But when you start getting, hair on the legs, underarms, absolutely not. I mean, you might be able to find some hobo in Oregon that likes that, but...
You're probably offending a lot of people on this video.
Yeah, for the most part, I would say lean on the side of caution with body hair. We like to pretend it's not a thing for females.
How much do looks matter in a relationship?
I would say they probably matter more than they should for most guys. I mean, even me, like, I feel like I look a lot into the personality and the heart behind the person. But, I mean, when it comes to my wife, my lover, she needs to be looking pretty nice, too.
I feel like that's a question that's like, looks probably matter more for people in the beginning because that's like the initial attraction is like you see someone obviously before you get to know them, so that's when it's more important. Yeah, and like if you're not attracted to the way they look, would you get to know them on that deep level to figure out if you really like things about them? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for most men it matters quite a bit, and I'll say that I feel like that might be a little unfortunate, but I also feel like that's kind of how we were made.
But also how you said there's a person for every size or whatever you said. Mm-hmm. I feel the same about people. Like there's a person for every look. Like something that he may find really attractive, someone else may be like, ew, you know?
Yeah, it's not like you're unattractive to every single person and you're doomed. I'm sure, you know,
everyone finds different things attractive.
Yeah, you'll be unattractive to one person, but another person you're going to be smoking hot.
Do guys get bored of listening to girls talk so much?
Yes.
If I can only tell you the amount of times I've had to repeat myself, yesterday it was 3 times about one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, you know, girls talk a lot, but sometimes it can be too much.
In marriage, how would you like the woman to initiate sex?
I like it.
How would you like it? That's the question.
I always tell Sutton that, you know, and I think this applies to a lot of men, we are just visual beings. So if you want to get something going, it's all about the line of sight. Just put yourself in their vision in the way that they want it, and you'll have no problem. Yeah.
What age did you know about a girl's period? That's kind of interesting.
Goodness.
I feel like with a sister and a mom, you should know earlier on than other guys.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that early, though. Maybe like when I was 13. I remember I heard girls talking about their period, and I was like, what the heck are they talking about? And I didn't know all that it entailed.
This is so funny. This just reminded me of this. I don't know if they'd want me to share, but it's so funny. My sister's husband thought that girls had, and some other guys out there might think this too, had milk in their boobs like all their life. And when you have a baby, it's for them, obviously, but that it's always there. But really, it like comes in, you know, when you get pregnant.
Did he think that's what's making the boobs big? Like, did he think like women with bigger boobs had more milk?
But he mentioned something about that to her, like in marriage. Like he thought that his whole life, up until they got married. And then he mentioned something, and she was like, "Wait a second, do you think that I have milk in my boobs?"
I used to think that when I was younger. Like I thought that's what made a boob, like it was full of milk.
That's what's funny about this is like there are things that people are afraid to ask, but they just assume, and then no one ever tells you that it's not true, and so you just assume wrong your whole life.
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, we'll just go for like dating. When we were dating, did you think about your ex or compare me to her? And do you think guys do that to their girlfriends?
I may have done it a little bit, but more so just like how much better you are. But yeah, I mean, I think naturally, if I had to guess, I would think most guys compare their exes to their girlfriend.
I feel like, yeah, it's a natural thing. And like, how do you learn if you're not doing that? Because if you're not comparing them, then you're not dating someone better or like fixing your problems that you had in your previous relationship, you know? I almost feel like you need it, kind of.
Yeah.
As long as you're comparing in a good way, like he said, thinking of the better things and not like, oh, well, my ex-girlfriend did this and she's not doing this. Mm-hmm. That's not good. Why do you watch porn when you know it hurts not only you, but also your girlfriend, fiance, or spouse?
Because we are stupid. I feel like porn is one of those things that every guy knows it's not right. Like they feel guilty about it, but they just keep doing it. It's just sin.
Do guys like when girls are feminine and delicate or hardworking and fearless?
Yeah, I think for the most part, if I had to take a vote, I would think most guys would say that they like their women to be, what was the words?
Feminine and delicate, or hardworking and fearless.
Yeah, I think most men would prefer the feminine and delicate. Of course, there's going to be guys out there who are into the hardworking and fearless, but not for me. I mean, I like that hardworking.
Yeah, I feel like hardworking is good for anyone. But I feel like I know what she means by that question. Yeah.
We know we know where you're getting at with that. And I think most men would love their woman to be hardworking, would love them to be feminine, would love them to be delicate. Maybe not too delicate, though. And fearless, I think some guys would like that. Some guys might be like, I don't want you to be more fearless than me. Yeah, I think if you're like, come on, you little wussy, like that, I would not like that.
Do you think about other women in marriage or relationship?
No.
Other guys.
Do other guys? I'm sure there's guys who do that, but like, yeah, I feel like a lot of guys probably do, and it might even be our instincts to think of women that way, but I just think it's important to shut that down. Like, if that ever does come up in your guy's mind, he needs to be shutting that down as quickly as it can.
That's always a hard thing that I feel like you could really get in fights about, is like your mind. Because like, I never know what's happening in your mind, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, then wonder, I feel like girls, we're like this, like then you wonder like, all right, would you really tell me, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just make up all these scenarios of like, well, you wouldn't tell me, and maybe you're thinking about this person, and maybe this is what's happening, and like all these things.
Well, I'll tell you, if I could be as honest with my mind as possible, I would say this is what happens. I feel like over the years, it's just a natural instinct. Like, say if you see a girl in a bikini or, you know, dressed revealing, it's like your natural instinct to like want to look, just for whatever reason. But I have trained my mind to like look in the opposite direction. Like, I never feed into it. I'm always like, if I ever feel like an urge, I mean, I feel like whether you're a guy or a girl, if someone walks past you with a really good looking body, it's just like our instinct to want to look at them. Even if a guy walks past me with a really good looking body, I'm like, yeah, and I feed into it now. But I was joking. But I bet so many people think I'm gay. But if I see a woman, then I've trained my mind and my eyes to go, nope, don't look at that. And I just don't feed into it. I just cut it off immediately.
Yeah, I feel like those are two different things, like the urges and what you do with it. And the urges are like natural, and there's really, you can't help it, but what you can help is how you respond to the urge. So making that choice of like not feeding into it is the most important thing. Yeah,
so same thing about like fantasizing or, you know, thinking about someone or another relationship. You just don't, it's important that they're not feeding into it. The thought might come up, but you just got to delete it. Go delete. Speaking of this video topic, just a little relationship advice is the whole idea, questions girls are too afraid to ask guys. I think a very attractive quality about girls is when they do ask guys bold questions. You know? And I feel like you did that in our relationship a lot. But asking the hard questions, it shows the guy that you take your relationship very seriously, that you're not one to be walked on. And I think most guys find it a very attractive quality. Mm-hmm. So that's the lesson of the video, is ask those tough questions. Yeah, because he's not every guy, and your guy could be completely different. So it would be interesting for y'all to ask them these questions. What do they think? Mm-hmm. I think especially on the early dating phase, it's very important to ask these hard questions. Also, if you're a guy and you're watching this and you have different answers, you should put it in the comments so that people would know, like, I mean, obviously he's not the only guy in the world. You guys all have different opinions. And I would like to know what some of y'all think about, if you disagree of anything that he said. All right, guys, this is Nate and Sutton sowing seeds of truth, love, and inspiration, one view at a time. And that was all the questions girls are too afraid to ask guys. See you next time.